What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Updating you all on my SSF Week 1 journey in the Forbidden Sanctum League. Oh man, am I having fun in this league. This is a great league. Everything about this league has been great. The mapping has been excellent. The loot has been excellent. The league mechanic is excellent. All of the changes have been excellent. I haven't tried the new skills though. I can't wait to try the new skills. But I haven't got into those yet, but I'm sure they're all excellent, all the new Vol stuff. I have been hearing there's like some sort of bugs going around with some skills, so I'll try to stay away from those. But in terms of everything else, I've been extremely happy. I am addicted to this league. It is a great league. So where are we at? We spun the build wheel, if you'll see in my previous videos. We landed on Cold Dot, so let's talk about it. So here is my Cold Dot character, Elsa. That's right. This is what she's wearing. +1 cold spell skills scepter with just crafted Cold Dot on the just crafted. Super basic. I guess this is really all you really need, right? Obviously a +1 all would be nice, but getting a +2 scepter these days is almost impossible. So did get a 6 link. 6 link we got in Ritual, which I'll talk all about. I'm super hype on Ritual, but we got our 6 link from Ritual, and then all the other gear is quite literally life and res. So much life and res in ES that I'm just like way overcapped on my res. Completely unnecessary. The thing is though, I don't really feel like min-maxing this character. I'm kind of over it. I don't really like Vortex, Creeping Frost. I definitely didn't like the Wintertide brand. Early in the game, the Wintertide brand is far better. It's so much faster, and being able to cast at a range is really nice. Once you get into endgame, it just doesn't do nearly enough damage, and it's mainly because you have to spec into all of these brand nodes that just don't really give you damage. They just don't really affect your dot that much. So you have to take all this, you have to take this, then you have to come up here and take all these nodes. And instead, you could just focus that on all of these nodes over here that actually do affect your dot. You can affect AoE and stuff like that. So I ended up swapping over into just Vortex Creeping Frost, which is a lot stronger. Now, they're still not doing insane amounts of damage, mainly because my gearing isn't that good. But it was enough to get me my first 2 Void Stones, and they got me them very, very quickly, which is really nice. Cruelty is a great support for Vortex, by the way, because it hits really hard. But yeah, they got me my first 2 Void Stones, and I'm happy about that. But once I started really pushing bossing, and I was dying a lot because this character almost has no defense whatsoever. Even with Flash up, I only have like 10,000 evasion. I'm really just relying on ES and movement, which isn't that good. You know, it just wasn't the tankiest character. I'm not the best at bossing, so I was like, I need to actually make a bosser. But before we get into the bosser, I do want to show the POB just a bit so you can kind of get an understanding of where the character is at. Do I recommend Cold Dot as a league starter? Yes, but only if you're thinking about switching quite early, because or if you really like the skill, which I don't think anyone actually will, especially in this league where you have to be up close and personal with enemies. The league mechanic is just not friendly towards that. Ask any melee player. So right now we're doing about 1.8 DPS. Obviously, if we go Elementalist, we'll probably get a little bit more damage, but we're not looking at more than that, really. It's kind of like a soft skill, very slow skill, but it is, you rely on movement because you freeze everything and you slow everything, especially with temp chains and your freeze and chill effect, all of that good stuff. It's not difficult on that end. It's just you kind of get overrun at certain times, and that's where things become a problem, especially as Wintertide brand, because that skill just has so much of a ramp up. You know, it takes really long time for it to finally start dealing some good damage, where Vortex and Creeping Frost, they just kind of boom, hit, and they're doing their max dot DPS right out the bat. So 1.8, perfect scenario. That's with everything up. That's with our Vol Cold Snap, our Creeping Frost, our Vortex, our Frost Bomb, all of our curses up. And, this is enough to get you your first 2 Void Stone, probably enough to get you your other 2 if you are better at bossing than me. So that's the character right there. And the gearing is, again, there's nothing crazy. It's just life and res. I mean, literally nothing to care about, honestly. But our next character, which is another character that I do not recommend, or another build that I do not recommend. That's right. You saw it. It's a Sabo. Seismic Trap. Yeah, so Seismic Trap, I built a Seismic Trap character almost mainly because I had an obliteration and because of the league mechanic. I figured traps are going to be really easy in this league mechanic. I have an obliteration. I thought I had Deerstalkers, which I'll talk about. But I was like, let's just go Seismic Trap, get our last 2 Void Stones, start farming some bosses so we can get some uniques and some gear to make our other builds that I want to make. But yeah, this you'll see in my POB, this skill does, a lot of damage. It does probably double, triple the amount of damage that my Cold Vortex is doing, with the best part, all flashed up a good amount of defense. And this isn't really built in that well. I've only started this character a couple days ago, maybe even yesterday. I don't really remember. But it's already doing very, very, very well. Farming bosses, farming shapers and elders, and soon it'll be farming mavens and stuff like that. So here is the current character's POB. We'll just take a look at this, and then we'll take a look at the gear. We're doing around 2.7 mil DPS. And what's cool with the new PoE update is that it showcase. I don't know when they changed it, so it might not be new, but it's new to me. But it showcases you your average waves and your average active traps, which really gives you a real look at your DPS. And that's, I think, the best way to calculate your DPS for Seismic Trap, especially a poison Seismic Trap variant. You want to really put your, and you want to make sure your enemy size preset is medium, because that's usually the size of the bosses that you're going to be fighting. Now, you'll see when we switch it to huge, so that means that almost all of our traps are hitting and almost all of the waves are hitting. Our damage goes up to like where Seismic Trap was initially before it was nerfed into the ground, which is a lot more damage. But, in a medium-sized boss, not bad, right? 2.7, 2.8. It'll probably get up to 3 mil when I'm done with it, and I'm happy with that. That's enough to do everything you need in the game. .dps. So this is what the tree looks like. And I dropped a few things that I'm going to add into this build. Well, I dropped one thing that I'm going to add into this build. So I'm going to spec up over here because you can see I got really, really lucky here. But I ended up dropping, actually, an Unnatural Instinct. What? How much do you think these are worth, actually? Let's take a look. We have to open up Awaken PoE trade. I have no idea what these are worth. 7 Divines, not bad. Oh, it looks like they're fairly common. 7 Divines isn't really that much money. Unnatural Instinct. Yeah, I was able to drop this, so I'm probably going to add this to the build, which will add like another 1.5 mil DPS to our build, which will be really, really nice. I'll throw it up right in here, and that'll be a day. Got really happy when I dropped that. Hopefully I have the footage there. And then that'll be it. And once we start farming stuff, I'm really trying to farm out a Void Forge. I really want a Void Forge. I want all the new uniques. So if I can get like the Gucci gloves, that would be really nice. I think these from Uber Elder. I'm not 100% sure. If we get the Gucci gloves, we'll probably do some sort of Reap Impale type of build, or maybe even Bladefall Blade Blast. I'm not sure. I just don't want to stay on this mainly because it's Seismic Trap, and it is kind of boring, and it doesn't do the damage that we're used to it doing. Here's our gear: Obliteration, Combing. We have a Pig Face with Spell Suppression. This just has a life and Fizz Dam reduction. Some terrible, I guess, implicits on it. Now the gloves. Okay, so these are Socketed Trap and Mind Damage gloves. I want to get Socketed Trap and Mind Damage along with Socketed Traps for Exsanguinate. I didn't notice this, or I didn't know this, but if you don't have Deerstalkers, Exsanguinate does like almost no damage on the level 20. I don't even have a level 21 yet. So on a level 20, without Deerstalkers, it just does barely any damage. Now, when you get this, when you add another support gem on there, so the Socketed Trap and Mind Damage, now it's finally starting to clear well. And then I think once we add that other notable on there, or that other gem, Socketed Traps, then we can add Brutality, and that will really allow us to clear very effectively. So now we're just starting to clear. But once I was going through the game, and I was, I got all my stuff going, I was like, damn, I really just feel like this skill this build just got nerfed so heavily. It felt like I was doing no damage. I was just on enemies forever. And, all of the clearing was taking forever. But now that we're actually starting to build into it, it's very similar to Toxic Rain in that this build has become a lot more gear dependent than it has been. And because of the because your clearing ability isn't that strong, you're mainly relying on Seismic Trap a lot of the time, and they nerfed the Seismic Trap cooldown. So once you're out, you're waiting a good amount of time before you can cast it again. So that's just something to think about. It's not what it used to be. It used to just drop your Seismic, kill everything, and then your Exsanguinate just cleared everything. But you do need some gearing now. +1 neck, fractured +1 neck. So hopefully we can turn this into a +2 in the future. That's pretty nice. We were able to 6-link this. I got pretty hype on that, an early 6-link. I think I only 6-linked it in like 100 fusings. Yes! Crafted the gloves. The boots are just dumb. Now, some of the tech that I'm doing is the Malevolence Divine Blessing tech with Eldritch Battery. So if you don't know, Eldritch Battery uses your ES pool as mana. So that allows you to cast another aura, because these auras cost like, 464 mana, right? So as long as I have 464 ES, which I'm able to get with my shield and some of the ES on my gloves, then I can cast another aura. And now I have Malevolence. And now I'm doing a lot more damage, right? Now I'm doing a lot more damage if I didn't have that on there. And of course, that allows me to keep Determination, Grace, Herald of Agony, and Defiance Banner. So lots of fun little auras on my build, which allows me to stay alive, allows me to deal a lot of damage, farm the bosses that I need. And it is just Old Faithful, you know? It's just old, you just can always rely on our buddy Seismic Trap. But do I recommend it? There's probably better bossers now, honestly. There's probably better bosses, maybe like Explosive Arrow, maybe Rage Vortex. We're long past the heyday of the Seismic Trap, I think. I think anyone that thinks otherwise they're living in the past. It's just not what it used to be, man. I'm telling you, it's just not what it used to be. At least in SSF. So that's where we're at so far. Some of the other fun things that I've dropped, other than the Unnatural Instinct, I dropped these in Heist. I think I have the footage also, but we dropped some replica Alberon Warpath boots. And I cannot wait to use these. I was not expecting to drop this. I saw this in a replica, obviously, blueprint. And I'm thinking maybe some sort of volcanic strength stacking build, right? Maybe some volcanic fissure action. I'm not sure, but we're definitely going to be building with these. You know, this is the best thing about SSF is when you drop uniques like this, uniques that you're not expecting to get, they really open up what you're going to play next. And that's what's really fun. You know, hopefully we drop the Void Forge and that opens up a whole bunch of other builds that I just can't do right now because I just don't have the gearing for it. And that just doesn't go for just uniques. That goes for rare items too, right? So, you know, dropping a really good fractured item can enable me to craft something crazy. And that craft will, open up a build. Like if I were to, I don't know, I dropped a fracture +1 like this, pretend that this is a bow. Fractured T1 lightning damage on a bow. Well, shit, maybe we're going lightning arrow. Maybe we're going tornado shot. I don't know. You know, that's what's the best thing about SSF. It's the kind of letting the game tell you what you are going to play and adapting to the new sort of items and things that you've gotten. And it just makes it makes the grinds way more rewarding, in my opinion. Because otherwise, like in a trade environment, all you're really doing is just farming the strategy that makes the most money to buy the items that you want. And ultimately, you're just buying things that another guy crafted, another guy did. And while that's a valid way to play, and I've played that way for years, there is a lot more reward in actually farming the materials that you need to do those farming strategies, to get the crafting materials, to craft your own items, to make those builds. And you just get a much more deeper connection with the characters and the game ultimately. And I just think it's more rewarding, and that's what I've really been enjoying about SSF. Although it's a lot slower and it's a little bit more, sometimes you fall into ruts where you're not dropping anything and you're just farming nothing. You're just farming just to farm, and those times suck. But it's really when you drop those big money items that you're just like, yes, now it's time to rock and roll. So what am I doing? Well, good question. I am speccing into June for some June missions here. We're going up into here. Expedition, baby. ROG books, okay? ROG is the best thing about SSF. He's your best friend. He's going to give you all the T1s that you need. So speccing into ROG, into Expedition. I don't find these very valuable, right? In the trade environment, these are going to be a lot more valuable. But in SSF, I want all of them. I want Gwenin, I want Tujin, I want Danning, and I want ROG. So I'm not really getting that much value out of those nodes. Probably get more value out of these little nodes, to be honest, than I would out of the main nodes. But in my opinion, I'm not going in anything else over here on this tree. So going out of my way to just grab some of these just is not worth it. These are a lot more valuable to me, and this is a lot more valuable, which is the logbook thing. Obviously getting a lot of map stuff because I still need maps. My map sustain is fine with just all these nodes here. And I also really like Kirik. I need Kirik for the unique maps because you're not dropping them. I really rely on Kirik for unique maps. Grabbing some strongbox nodes, I think these are always mandatory. They just add so much value to your map. You don't have to worry about corrupting your strongboxes. And then these have, it's just like a nice pile of scarabs that you're going to use. Oh, also, this is the SSF button, Stream of Consciousness. You don't have to worry about scarabs or anything like that. You just throw this bad boy on. You just do some blocking, grab some of these like plus base chance, and you're going to guarantee drop. You're going to almost guarantee getting these league mechanics. Like I'm almost guaranteed ritual. I'm almost guaranteed heist, expedition, essences, because there's no blocking of essences. So essences always pop up on the map. Mapping is in an excellent state right now, and almost guaranteeing all of this stuff is just opens up so many doors in farming strategies, and it's really, really awesome. So that's one of the main things that I'm focused on right now is ritual, getting a lot of fun little items from ritual. I'm taking every ritual cluster. I probably don't need this one, but I'm taking it anyway. And then heist, of course. Heist is very great. All the unusual gems, alt quality gems, are really nice. And then just heist in terms of just rewards in general is just crazy. So it's nice to have. And you get a lot of blueprints from this node. Well, these give you high value targets, which are really great for when you're running those contracts. You're just going to get a shitload of the currency that you're going to need. You don't have to run thousands of them. And then this is going to give you so many more blueprints, this little cluster here. And then lastly, I'm just taking all of these Maven stuff and the Elder stuff so I can get my last 2 Void Stones so we can complete that. Once we get those 2 stones, we're going to just go back into Searing Exarch so we can get our Omni, hopefully get our Omni, and start building into some sort of Omni character. But yeah, that's it. That's where we're at so far. I haven't gotten any sort of crazy farming yet. You can see my currency's not that crazy right now. I haven't gotten into any crazy strats yet. I'm really just starting to get into the phase where I'm finishing my Atlas, finishing the bosses, doing a bit of boss farming, finding those like build enabling uniques that will really kind of take me to the next level where we can really start to do some fun farming things and start to craft some crazy items and start to have some real fun in here. And hopefully also do well in the league mechanic, which I love. I think the league mechanic is great. I'm just like terrible at it. One of the reasons I am Seismic Trap is because I wanted to do better in the better than Vortex in the league mechanic, but I realized I'm just not that good at it. So yeah, that's where we're at so far in our SSF journey. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully you'll enjoy this kind of journey that I'm taking you on in my SSF world. And let me know if you have any tips on SSF, any great ways to find new uniques. And yeah, let me know your thoughts on SSF and trade in general. And also what builds you're playing, if you're playing anything new, if you're playing anything off meta, because I would love to know, because playing meta builds are cringe. Don't do what I'm doing. All right, guys. Peace.